right, welcome to Pass the Mic for Friday, April 14th, 2023, episode 67. Mike Pihoti here. We are on Zoom. Mike Gervasi joining me as well.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. Now, let me give you a hint.
Okay.
All right. So you won't guess the rapper. You might guess the group. Now, the hint is it's a rap rock genre.
Oh.
He just kind of broke off and did his own rap thing.
A rap rock genre. So is it a rock band? This guy just...
Yeah, he kind of broke off. Now, they really...
Linkin Park.
It is. It's Fort Minor from Linkin Park. Look at you. Does the hint take away from you? Do we give you a half? 50,
because of the hints? I mean, I don't know. We'll just it is what it is. I'm not going to justify or qualify any of my victories. They're so few and far in between, just like the Detroit Tigers. When it happens, we're just going to celebrate it and crown another parking spot somewhere.
Yeah,
exactly. Raise a banner over a parking lot.
Yep.
Surprised you there a little bit, huh? You're a little lost for words.
But I think it's because I gave you the hint, and there's not too many rap rock. You know, I wouldn't be singing Limp Bizkit, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it wasn't
Chris Pate's favorite group.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm not a rolling today. You are too. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Feedback. We had a great episode last week with Dr. Terry, who did a great job. Sort of, and we mentioned it sort of last week too. There's sort of like a college backlash going on, and sort of trying to let people know and understand, A, the value still of a college degree, and B, what is available out there to people. You know, we realize it's expensive, but a lot of people don't understand what's available. I think you really worded really well about what's available and out there. We didn't really have him reach out to us, but Dr. Terry picked Michael J. Fox, who was already on our wall. I think he's like in the initial 3, right? Wasn't he like our initial 3?
Yeah, I think he was. He's got that.
Like we did way back when we did this, we started it with 3: Mike Tomlin, Michael J. Fox. And now I'm drawing a blank on who the other one on that. But we're gonna, again, as we always do on this show, we are making rules as we go. Guests can pick any mic, whether they're on the ball or not, from this day forward. So there's that. Did you get any other feedback? Feedback on your jacket?
Lots of
Mr. Hip Hop, right?
Yeah. We'll talk. You know what? I didn't even mean to mention the Pates. I'm kind of upset with them right now because they called me out on not knowing. I guess that's a Biggie Smalls thing, that the side the.
I never put I put the video up. I uploaded the video. So if people want to watch it, they can see the video.
Max mentioned that it's one of, you know how the Pistons did the Detroit, the green thing today in this year, and Pistons did that in honor of St. Cecilia Gym. That's Brooklyn's version of it. I didn't know that, and I probably could have pieced that together. I'm not a big Jersey guy anyway, and in this case, I mean Jersey is not New Jersey, which they're Brooklyn. That's just an irony. So I got a lot about that. Everybody's saying just wear it, but unfortunately, it's too late. I've already given it, or I've already committed to giving it back to my nephew.
Okay.
In return, I'm getting a Philadelphia 76ers one and a Sacramento Kings. I almost said Sacramento Queens to quote Shaquille O'Neal. So I got a lot on that. I also, pretty cool. Now, so Antoine is a regular listener, and that's his brother. And we've shouted out Antoine a lot on here. And Antoine, sent the text, and he said, obviously I'm biased, but that was the best one you guys have done. And the bar is pretty high.
Very cool.
Yeah. And he also said, it moved him. It was very moving hearing his brother tell some of the stories that he told. So I thought that was cool. I also one other thing that just happened totally by chance. The Daily Show with Roy Wood Jr. last week. He was the guest host. Daily Show has a different guest host now since Trevor Noah left. They just happened to do a feature on college the next day, Thursday. So the day
really?
And it kind of made the rounds. It's gone viral, I think, anyway, depending on what the definition of viral is. I don't want to get stomped out for the technicalities, but nonetheless, the entire feature really rips on a lot of the aspects of college. Roy Wood himself got a journalism degree, and he's very grateful of that. And then it kind of closes with his mom, him mentioning his mom's actually a college professor, so she's not going to like the feature very much. But it kind of goes into the negative aspects of college. And so I guess as a counterbalance, the bureaucracy, the red tape, so forth and so on, it was just fitting that it happened the next day. Deontay from Arizona, you've He's been referenced quite a bit down here too. Sent me that the next day. I wanted to shout him out. I mean, I watch the show every day when it's on, so I knew it was there, but it was really just right on cue to our show. So,
well, I'll tell you this right now. My daughter just FaceTimed me before we started recording, and we're recording here on Thursday afternoon, about 80 degrees and sunny.
yeah.
FaceTime me from the lawn out in central campus of Ann Arbor. Tons of people sitting outside. The college looks great to me right about now. Like, just a nice day, eating her lunch.
The best
Those were the
time?
best days.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and she's out there, and it was a nice call that we had. And when you started going on about this thing about college, about the negatives of college, that is definitely the 180 opposite. That was always the best days, man.
Oh yeah.
Those days where it's nice outside and you can just go enjoy, and people are around and music's playing and that sort of thing. Just a really cool vibe. Bucky's gas station got a lot of input. Coach Annie Hayjack mentioned it. Lots of people. Most people sort of along the same lines. Now, Kent Secor claims they have a great brisket sandwich. Yeah. Right. And we're gonna talk about this. We're segueing almost in a little bit to overrated, underrated. But I don't know. I mean, there's probably a lot of great barbecue restaurants that have a pretty good brisket sandwich too, I guess.
One would think, yes. Something that specializes in it would probably be better than a gas station, but that's just.
But what do we know? Yeah. So a lot of feedback on that as well. All right. Do you have a mic of the week for us?
I do. I thought about this one, and with the escalating tensions between us and Russia, the continuing escalating tensions between us and Russia, and from the Cold War into the present, I thought I would try to diffuse the tensions.
Okay.
By bringing a Russian in.
Nice.
Mikhail Gorbachev.
Well, nice. Okay.
Gorby.
So you're not going with Baryshnikov, or no? I'm sorry. Who was the ballet dancer? Wasn't there like a Mikhail? Oh, what was it, Baryshnikov? Yeah, did I get that right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Gorbachev. We're going with Gorbachev.
Gorby. Help
had the signature birthmark on his head.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Great choice. Hopefully we can appease this battle that's going on with my homeland in the Ukraine.
We're bringing peace here. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe we'll win a Nobel Peace Prize. Who knows? All right. This week, fresh off of today, we're going to do two fresh topics for our education topic and for overrated, underrated. Today,
very excited about
exciting day for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders across the state of Michigan. It was PSAT, SAT day. I'm sure kids went home kicking their heels up, all excited, or going to school kicking their heels up. The enthusiasm in the hallways was overwhelming today. I mean, it felt like homecoming Friday.
Yeah.
Like, it was, everyone looks, when that calendar comes out, people circle the Friday before Christmas break, the Friday before Easter break or spring break, and then the SAT day on their calendar, students and staff alike.
It is a nice day. I just went out and played some tennis too, so yeah, it was kind of nice.
Yeah, of course, it's a beautiful sunny 80-degree day of all. Perfect day to be locked into a room for hours.
Air conditioner not working. I had one kid right in the middle of the test. Now he's pre-SAT, but he looked up. He's like, "It's too hot."
That's an irregularity, maybe.
Yeah.
So with that, and we're not going to. Okay, we're done piling on the College Board and testing. And last year we sort of did an episode of our piling on and why we didn't think it was as important and that sort of thing. But what I'm empowering us with today is, where do we see it 5-10 years from now? And almost as if, because we both agree, even when we talked about this last time, there has to be some sort of assessment, right? Like just in general, we just sort of maybe think that it goes about the wrong way, and there's probably just too much. Okay. Sure. So I just want to know, where do you see assessment going? And again, we're towards the end of our career, and in full disclosure, there's a part of our evaluation that is assessment based, but that also can be local assessment, right? It doesn't have to be national assessments. Where do you see this going? Because we already know there's a major change for next year, right? Like so we know there's some major changes coming, but where do you think this ends up? And just maybe on your feel or any commentary on today, besides the beautiful weather and nobody wanting to be inside a building for half a day.
So it certainly is changing as we speak. I think COVID did that. Now, there were some reports that the SAT was starting to take back the prominence that it had once had. But I think those may have been premature. So I think what's happening. So, Dr. Rice, give him a shout out.
Yes. Legitimately, congratulations again.
Yes. And I think he did that last week.
I know. I just don't want to miss out.
Right. He, came up with this, and I don't know where he got it from, but he's always on the cutting edge of education. Say what you want about him and make fun of him on here, but he is certainly on the cutting edge. And he brought us we call the 7 C's, in this case, C's being the letter C: collaboration, communication. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now. But and he wanted us to have artifacts for it. And it's something we've done this year, and say what you want about it. But what I have found is when I have done things for other kids, for example, this year, I had a young lady come and ask for a recommendation to go study abroad. She's a sophomore, and she is going to spend the summer in Africa through this program. And it's a pretty prestigious thing she's doing. And they didn't ask anything about her GPA. Everything was about those type of 7 C's, so to speak. They didn't frame it that way, but as I'm reading,
I think I know your same student. I read the essay.
yeah,
and helped with it.
They're asking about those things. They're not asking about her GPA. They're not asking about, they want to know a few things in class, but it's more along the lines of those type of things in class. That is she a good leader? Is she? So what I think SAT is going to be in 5 to 10 years, it's certainly in that direction now. And I think even more so, it's going to be one piece of many that colleges look at. I think colleges are going to put much more of an emphasis on those other things, because you and I both know that the student that we have in high school doesn't necessarily indicate the type of student that they will be in college. You know what I mean?
No,
like
not at all.
I think if you have a good work ethic, that's something that's going to carry over and help you in college. I just think of me personally, I was very good in math when it was quick thinking and I could do things at the top of my head. By the time I had to start doing, processing those types of things and calculus and all that stuff, I really struggled. So, as kids mature and they grow into adulthood, I think those skills that they have will certainly translate on the next level a lot more than the things that we might see in high school, and certainly a lot more than GPA. So I am going to say that the SAT, ACT, whatever we're looking at 5, 6 years from now, 5, 10 years from now, will be nothing more than one part of many.
Do you think, in your opinion, and this obviously rests upon what the state of Michigan decides, because they are the ones that decide this, do you think it ever swings back to being what it was like back in our day, where if you want to take the SAT or the ACT, back in our day it was the ACT, right? Am I speaking correctly
ACT,
for you?
Yeah.
But it was something that you did on your own outside of school. And the only people that were really thinking of a 4-year college bound situation were taking it.
I could see that happening. Absolutely.
That to me right now, and I mentioned this last time, I just sometimes I look around a room and the test is not designed for everybody.
Right.
And we're sort of like forcing this test on people that it's really not designed for. And I think, and I think I mentioned this in our one last time, though, there can maybe, if there's something to be created that is more, takes into account real world achievements or real world things or world things. And if you want to go to U of M or go to the other schools, you can go pay and take the SAT like I did at Southgate Anderson High School. I took the ACT. It was not the SAT. And you can. To me, I don't want to use, I think waste is the wrong word. It's just such an improperly used tool when you test the entire population of a building.
Right.
You're probably, depending on the district, you're probably testing about 50% that you don't need to test, right? And that could vary by the district and what your college bound prep population is. These colleges did just fine for a year or two without the SAT. I think that's what really scared the College Board, is that U of M still brought in a pretty darn good class in the fall of 2020 and in 2021. And you know what? They pay people a lot of money to read through those applications and look through other things. And that one little line of a PSA or an SAT score, granted, it can get you scholarship money or that sort of thing. And again, and I'm not knocking anything. I mean, obviously we do our best every day to prepare students, but compared to 5, 6 years ago, where preparing was 90%, what do you say, about 90, 80% for SAT, PSAT? And now we're more of this blend of like, you know what? Hey, let's get some cumulative projects that are done. Let's get some I love doing in all the classes, and I know I've lost touch with the classroom, but in the few classes that I do have, they are heavily oral presentations and getting up in front of the group and presenting to the group. That is what way better than, and I'll have a quiz or a test here, there, and there in leadership skills, but they're always very small. That doesn't demonstrate your leadership, getting what I talked about as far as time management and stuff like that. But getting up in front of a group and presenting a point does, and that's a hard thing to test 900 kids for, right? 800 kids for on one day. You can't have 800 kids get up and give a speech, right? So a standardized national way of doing this, I don't know how they do it. That's more on our end, but I think more and more that's just so much more important. I am positive there are kids that scored perfect on an SAT that have gone on to college and just imploded.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle the pressure. Couldn't handle the stress. And I'm sure there's some kids that scratched and clawed, barely got a good score on the SAT, maybe went to a community college for a year or two, and then transferred and have gone on to do great things. I'm almost positive of that.
Yeah, I mean, the notion, the idea that so much emphasis is put on this one test that a 16 or 17-year-old person takes one day in the spring of their junior year, it's kind of, I'm just gonna say antiquated. I have a few other words for it, but I think it's just an antiquated idea that we're fitting this square peg in a round hole for so many kids, even the kids that are college bound, to put this much emphasis on something. And I can remember even my first year teaching, just talking to a girl who didn't perform at that time. It was ACT. It didn't perform as well, and she was just brokenhearted. And I just said, listen, you're going to mature. You're such a good worker. I think you're going to be fine. And she is. She's doing great now. So I think that this idea of this massive test on what it's certainly going by the wayside in a lot of ways.
Maybe along with Dr. Rice, the Mikes can create this test, this new standardized test that isn't the normal SAT route. It just sort of says, checks on your social skills, checks on a few things here and there, and that can be the new standard. And then we can make the big bucks like the college board.
We'll do a whole bunch of stuff. Like we'll put old school rap in there. We'll see if they know.
Hey, we'll call ourselves the College Board, BORED.
Board of Education, BORED.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. We're here all week. Yeah.
And we'll just make these ambiguous rules and stuff like that, and make people have to fill out certain forms. And then when we get the forms, we'll just chuck them out and then just grade the test. And not really.
Is that what we would have done when we were offered that big job?
As university professors?
University. Well, I was the president.
You were the president. I was the dean. That fell through. We got to keep our business private. Thankfully, we did not take that offer. Or past Mike might be out of business too.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear what people, especially people with kids. And we've talked about some of, I had violating FERPA here. Nolan Burgeye was in my room taking the PSAT today. The Pates had two people taking tests, one of them the big one, the SAT.
Yeah.
So I get it. For the juniors, it's a very high stress situation. So
sure.
When I asked Nate about it, like, hey, you ready for the PSAT tomorrow? He's like, no, I'm ready for the volleyball tournament after it's done. So that's where that is. So, all right, overrated, underrated this week. And I hate to do food 2 weeks in a row. I hate to do it. But we have no choice. We had
a choice, but we
had a choice. But with the Buc-ee's controversy or drama from last week, I thought of a great overrated, underrated topic would be overrated, underrated dining options, whether it's as fancy as a brisket sandwich. I don't know, depending on the gas station you go to, but dining options, snack options at a gas station, whether you're on a road trip, whatever. This is like the big new thing nowadays. Now, Michigan, it's sort of slowly sneaking its way in here, but out in Pennsylvania, there's I think it's Sheets, and then there's a couple of them where they're these huge, they have full out dining options, menu options, you know what I mean? Like sandwiches, mozzarella's, deep fried stuff, and people swear on these things. And this is slowly starting to hit, we talked about it last week, Pick Pack. Wow, they have the sandwich and pizza shop in there, right? So this is a big deal. So I want to know, and you weren't too impressed with my suggestion of this, and thankfully Evie was there to try to give you some advice. Overrated gas station items. What do you got? Because imagine you're on a road trip, you pop in. What do you got as overrated?
I struggle with this one because, I don't like bar food either. Those fried foods you mentioned, I don't eat those either. So I really had a hard time with this. And then we talked to Evie Crampton today. She mentioned pizza at gas stations. And I'm like, I can't think of anything more disgusting.
Taquitos. What about taquitos or the hot dog?
That's up there too. Hot dogs are probably
the stuff rolling on the.
Yeah, as old as the one Kramer ate in that one Seinfeld episode at the movie theater. But I'm going to go with pizza. Although, see, this is a struggle too, because one of my favorite pizza places is Papa Romano's, and the one that just opened around here.
Yeah, but I think that's in that gas station. But I think you're talking the other 90% where it's just behind some glass case. I get it. Let's clarify. That's a whole separate entity in the Wow gas station. So you're talking about, you go into a place, you pick up your lotto tickets, you pick up a 12-pack of Bud Light, and then you what's the money?
You feel like stopping your arteries. The blood's flowing.
And then you're
through
like, oh, this
when you
pizza
slice
looks
that pizza.
delicious, like behind the hot glass. I get it. I think that's a great call. I don't know there's like who's eating this thing.
Well, Evie
It
said
looks like
people are eating it, so that's why
it's
I'm
a
saying
perfectly sane piece of pizza. All right, my
Hey,
overrated.
wait a minute. Tom Pack has to jump on this one now. Tom, first off, what a job.
Oh yeah. Oh, his pictures.
He took Rocky out of business, but I can't wait to see this week with Kramer thrown in there.
Well, I usually every Saturday I'll share the episode on Friday on Facebook. You can usually count on the Ren Dog for tweeting the episode, and I'll retweet Ren Dog's tweet. And then I do an Instagram post on my story every Saturday with the episode. I usually just do a screenshot of the show, the thing, and put a link to it. Well, last week I actually stole Tom Pack's collage photo and used that for the Instagram post to share the episode. They are outstanding. So yeah, we're not trying to purposely give him, he just creates on his own. So
yeah, well, that's Rocky's gone now because of Tom. Nice job, Tom.
This may this may shock some people. My overrated are like slushies, Slurpees, frozen drinks. And I don't know if it's because my wife is a big time Slurpee fan we have a 7-Eleven gas station right up down the road in Rockwood. And she sends me there all the time. She'll so I'll be up there once in a while and I get one and I never get one for myself. I'm like, it's just something for me that and part of it is I try to go 0 calorie on drinks all the time, except for if I'm having non-family friendly beverages. Like obviously you can't do 0 calories there. So I try to keep 0 calories. So 0 iced tea, 0, unsweetened iced tea, water, black coffee. So I'm not going to, that's part of it too. So it's really easy for me to pass up on a Slurpee, but if I really wanted to pop, I'm going to have a bottle of Pepsi or a nice Rock and Rye. Don't need the slushy. And as you're drinking it, you never really get the full drink. Like it gets, I don't know, the very end of it, you don't really get the full beverage, I guess. Tip though, if you are a Slurpee person, get the 7-Eleven app. For some reason, it's like instead of $2.10, it's $1.05. And then like every seventh drink, it's free. Yeah,
look at you.
$1.05.
What a public service announcement. Hey,
yeah,
I got a question for you. Have you ever gone to a 7-Eleven where you don't do the self-serve Slurpee?
Why what is there? Is there?
I see.
They make it for you like a bartender?
Yeah, I grew up in Taylor and we had one. Must be the upper echelon 7-Elevens. And I'm telling you, the quality of Slurpee was much better there.
Well, wait a minute. So it's behind no, I don't think that. I think it's that they didn't want you guys touching it because you're probably doing stuff that shouldn't have been done.
Probably, but it was as party
like sticking your mouths under it and stuff. Down here at Allen and Vreeland, we had free reign to do whatever we want.
You really
because we weren't
really the beacon. But anyway, listen, Party and Wick and Taylor. So my Taylor listeners will understand this. They would fill it for you, and I'm telling you, the quality of Slurpee was much better.
But they're professionals.
Places. Yeah,
I always hate too. Like you fill it and it's too much and it over explodes on the thing.
That didn't happen there. You got the professionals doing it for you.
It's like someone pouring a pint of Guinness. Like you got.
And the other thing is, how much of that inventory just gets wasted because of what you just said, is stickiness and people throw the tops away.
From my understanding of the fountain beverage industry, the inventory is all based on cups, not supply of the slushy.
All right.
I don't know.
I guess.
All right. Well, that's my overrated. I mean, and that's fine. Your underrated gas station item. Pizza overrated. What's your underrated?
So I don't think people think of this. Really, I don't eat this that much anymore. I'm fairly certain you don't. But when I was a beef jerky fan, traveling up north, and even the places, they had a lot of jerky outlets off of 75. Even those places that don't, I do a lot of traveling for soccer now. I'm noticing the beef jerky selection at the gas stations is much better than even like Kroger and Meijer and places like that. So I'm going underrated beef jerky or turkey
from a gas station.
Yes. Lots of choices.
And I think it's expensive wherever you buy it. So you're not sitting there like thinking, oh man, this would be so much cheaper if I bought it at Kroger or Meijer. No. And in reality, it's really not going to be. So you're right. That is a great road trip item too, because no mess, nice and clean, good source of protein, right? Like my wife, who's a vegetarian, doesn't like it because it smells up the car a little bit, but that's
it does, if you get the good flavors, it does.
She likes cheddar cheese and sour cream ruffles, which I think are gross. You want to talk about smelling up a car? Oh, those are so bad.
Right.
So she has no, she can't speak on the matter then. So
onions, stink
awful. Yeah. So
not good either.
Nice. I like that. That's a good underrated. Good call for you, even for someone that wasn't too sure on the topic. My underrated is going to sort of tie into what you're talking about. So I am as where I'm not as a I don't have an issue with soda and I'm not a I have good self-control. I don't have good self-control with like potato chips and like different flavored chips. All right. I love potato chips. I could wipe out a bag of yellow Lay's original instantly. And that sort of gets to my point about road trips and gas stations. When you're in the store and they have all these, first of all, the grocery, it seems to me that gas stations have more of the unique, crazy flavors. Like I don't know what it is. Like they'll try more varieties of stuff there than a grocery store. Also, they have them. They're smaller bags, right? Because it's not
Yeah.
not normally buying. And so if I'm at the grocery store and I see these crazy flavors, I'm not going to really do it because I don't want to spend $4 or $5 on a full size bag if I've never tried
Right.
it and it's not good. But the gas station, and this is what's the underrated, with these smaller bags and these unique flavors, I like to try this stuff. It gives me the
Okay.
green light because I'm not investing that much. Now, are some of them bad? Yes, they are. I've had some bad types. Well, like we mentioned, the cheddar sour. I don't even like it. I've never liked the cheddar sour cream, but there's some pretty standard flavor. But there's a lot of different types of things, like different types of pretzel knots and all sorts of things. And that's what I am going to say is underrated about the gas station. The opportunity to try something a little different, not your basic plain yellow bag of Lay's, some crazy little bag. Because you're only going to invest like $1.99, right? Maybe $2.50 in this snack size bag. And you can try something new. It might be delicious, might be awful, but the variety and the crazy flavors of salty chips and stuff like that is my underrated.
Okay. All right.
All right. We'd love to hear. I'm sure the people that went to Buc-ee's, we'd love to know what let us know. Again, we've already heard about the beef brisket being delicious. I don't know what else is great down there. When we were out west has some crazy giant gas stations too on our road trip. And the kids are trying to explain to me like this machine where they could make like a malted ice cream sort of thing. I don't even know. And they claim it's at the Wow gas station. It's like a self-serve, even better than a Slurpee. I don't know what it is. So, but
But not
maybe
here while as you
no,
go out west.
it's
Only
here
here.
because they pointed out that wow, this place even has it like those places out west did. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so gas station cuisine, can't beat it. All right, it is now time for our mic of. Oh no, it's time for our hot mic take. Long week, man. Testing even wears us out. What is your hot mic take for the week?
All right, so I got to know. I think I know where you stand on this, but I want to know from the listener if I'm wrong, if I'm being that person, or if I'm in the right here. So I was leaving the grocery store the other day. Our stories all center around the grocery store, seemingly. I'm walking out, and a truck is trying to back into the spot, and this person's struggling to back in. And there's about 4 or 5 people just waiting to walk while this person backs in. And we got to wait for this guy to back in that spot. So I want to know if I am out of line at getting so annoyed with this. Now, as I'm getting older, I'm understanding why people do it a little bit more. Let's say at a game, if you're leaving with everybody, you want to get out of there fast. I do understand that. But outside of that, I don't see the point. I just see it as an annoyance. And when it happened the other day at Kroger, like I said, there was 4 or 5 of us just standing there. We got to wait for this guy forward, back. We can't move because we don't know if he's going to go. He's not even making eye contact with us. He's just backing in. It took him a good minute and a half as we're standing there waiting. So I want to know if I'm wrong for getting so annoyed at this, or if this is something that is as annoying as I believe it is.
You are not wrong at all. It's very situational, though. I agree with you. Like a parking garage, possibly a stadium, like a stadium situation. I totally get that. DTE energy, you're going there out to see a concert. Totally get that. Also, though, your situation. Like I pulled into a parking garage and there's no one coming for miles. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to back in. If there was a line of 30 cars behind me,
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to suck it up and pull in and then do
Yeah.
my best to get out. A grocery store, I don't get at all because where do you load your groceries 90% of the time?
Well, I think in the back of your car. Yes.
The back of your car. So if you're
Yes.
backing, so like I think of this most of the time too. If I get there and the famous pull through, the pull through is a backer in's dream because they don't even have to go through the struggle of backing in.
Right.
They can just pull through, right? Well, if I go to Kroger sometimes and there's a pull through open, but I'm like, well, I'm going to have to load up. I don't want to open the side door. I'm not going to pull through. Like, I don't even understand why anyone would back in at a grocery store. I don't, you're cutting off you're cutting off your loading area.
And it's like, if you're doing it so you could save time at the end of like you just spent a minute backing in, like to me, you wasted more time doing this. I was just like, God, am I too annoyed with this right now?
No, I think you're totally on board. And, we're not going to name names. It happens at work. Happens at work in a very small lot that is not a Tigers game or a Detroit Lions game. 235, 240. Now I get it. Like we said, we've had there's certain situations. If you have I would say out of what we work 180 some days, right? There might be 3 or 4 or 5 days of the year where I have something at 2:50, 3 o'clock, where I'm throwing elbows and I got to get out of the building, right? Like, but the rest of the days, so be it. Whenever I
Yeah.
get out, whenever I get out. So maybe on one of those days I'll back in because like I got to get right out and get out of here. But otherwise, the traffic's really not that bad. Like you can make it out. But whatever, to each their own, But I don't like when if you get there at like 6:30 in the morning and no one's there and want to do it, fine. If there's a line of 7 cars waiting to get their spot, understand the situation.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, I had 3 different notes down in my notebook today, and they sort of go in rank of least serious to the ultimate most serious. So there's A least serious, B middle of the road, and C very serious. I'm going to let you let me know which one you want.
I did
And
a
I'll read
lighthearted one, and I'm actually closing the show with something. I was going to save it for next week, but I got to do it now for a reason. So go most serious.
most serious. Okay,
Yeah.
right before I came, I was eating lunch, made myself a sandwich before we did the show, and as usual, when I'm trying to just zone out and eat lunch, I was watching some TikToks, and a TikTok video came up of one of the first police officers to arrive at the bank shooting in Kentucky. His body cam.
Mhm.
Okay, we talked about this a few weeks ago with the school shooting in the body cam, right? And how this guy's body cam runs to his car. He's by himself, runs to his car, has to pop his trunk to get his stronger weapon because he's not going with a pistol. He takes a few steps up these steps and is blasted upon by rounds of ammunition. The poor guy drops stuff. He rolls back. I don't think he was hit because he continued to talk. I know other officers were very seriously wounded in
Right.
this. And it goes back to what we talked about with the tenant. We complain about some days, our days of work and stuff. And sometimes police officers get a bad name. But here's this young guy not knowing what he's getting into, he did not hesitate at all, popped his trunk, opened his bag by himself, ran up these steps. And all I could think of as I'm watching this is like, without hesitation, this guy did this. And again, I just think sometimes people like to badmouth a certain industry or a certain field or a certain group of individuals because of a bad experience they've had or a bad experience they see on TV. And you have to probably understand that in the most part, most people doing these jobs, whether it be our profession, doctors, nurses, anything, these police officers, they're guys like this, man. It's a young kid just going to do his job, and he thinks he hears shots fired, hoping that it's maybe some guy maybe with just a pistol that's and it turns out to be a guy that has a weapon as I don't know again, I'm not a gun expert, as strong or maybe more powerful than this guy, has an upper vantage point because he has to go up these steps,
Yeah.
all glass windows. This guy's a sitting duck. And
Right.
he went running up those stairs. And I feel for these guys that are getting called into these situations. Everyone back to the Texas situation, everyone's bad mouthing those cops. And looking back on it, they did wait too long and this sort of thing. But man, also understand, look at this guy, you pull up, you don't know what you're getting into and what you're facing. And I think that's whatever I'm not going to talk about Second Amendment and gun rights. I mean, just imagine some of what these police officers have to feel. I
Right.
really feel for them, man. And
Yeah.
we're friends with some police officers. We're friends with ex-police officers. One of my favorite ex-students just graduated from the police academy and is a Detroit police officer. And I tell Elisa, that we always worry about our kids, right? I couldn't imagine like my kid being that guy popping out of his like every day and that he pop in his trunk, no matter where you live, or that's a
Yeah.
pretty big city, but like even anywhere. I mean, it's just I just think and I'm not using the message has nothing to do about gun control. The message has to do with when you start judging a profession or judging and blanket stating everybody, just understand that's probably way off for the most part. That's
Yeah.
probably way off for
Yeah.
the most part. And most people are doing these things. And go watch that. If you have a bad impression of and you think all police officers are trash, go watch that video for a few seconds and tell me if you think that. You
Well
know what I
put,
mean?
Mike. Well put.
So that's my series. When you took C, I'll keep A and B around for another day. So into the week. First of all, beautiful week this week. Tigers have sort of settled back down to where we expected. Johnny Schreiber had a pretty good series here in Detroit.
Yeah.
Had a couple scoreless innings. It was nice to come home for him. My Buccos doing pretty good. Their shortstop broke his ankle in a bang play. They had a walk off against the Astros last night. I mean, it's early. Dr. Rice did do something. He came and brought me a printout of the NL Central standings, and both the Pirates and Reds were above the Cardinals. And he goes,
Oh,
I want to
that's
put this up so we can enjoy this for the short period of time. Because by the way, I don't know if we made this clear. If I could have a team lose every game in Major League Baseball, some people are like, oh, I hate the Yankees, right? Some people are like the anti-Red Sox. Some people are, for me, it would be the Cardinals. Every game from here to eternity, I'm rooting for whoever is playing the Cardinals. So,
all right, quick question now. Let me just ask this before we close. Oh, by the way, let's get the Pistons in there. Coach, moving up to the front office.
Did you send your resume in?
I did not. I'm just wondering why. I mean, I think Dwayne Casey's a nice guy, has had some success, but I just wonder why he's being celebrated so much by the organization. And I think it's just because he took all these bullets, I suppose, these last. But I mean, man,
must be nice to get promoted. Worst record and
right. This isn't Chuck Daly. It's just weird.
Man,
our sports are in a horrible spot.
It's crazy to think right now, and I don't know, people may disagree, but the best ownership group in the city is definitely in Allen Park with the Detroit Lions. And I'm not just saying that because of
without question.
I'm not just saying that because of recent moves and trades. I think the Ford family, and people always will complain about them and that they're overly loyal and that sort of thing. But as far as spending money and especially now in this newer regime, once the kids took over, they're doing a good job. Have they made mistakes? Yes. Are they the best of the three? Because there's three, right? Because one's the same. Are they the best of the three? Yes. I honestly think that of the three families, they care the most.
Yeah,
I'm going to put it that way.
No question. The Ilitch family, oh man, what's happened since Mike Ilitch passed is the same thing that happened since Bill Davidson passed with the Pistons. The only difference is Bill Davidson's kids wanted no part of the organization. And I guess I could be thankful. I mean, the Pistons are my number one love, and I guess I could be thankful that Goris kept the team here, and there hasn't been whispers about moving them. But aside from that, man, it has just been an awful, awful nightmare. They have not won a playoff game since Mr. Goris took over, and in fact have only played in, I believe, 2 playoff series, maybe 3. I think it's 3, 2 or 3. They had no business being in the playoffs any of those years, so it's been awful. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
All right. Well, we will be back again next week. It'll be a lot of Zooms now because middle school track has started, so that makes it hard to get into Studio B. We're going to try to get some guests lined up, and before we know it, it's going to be graduation time and that sort of thing. So, everybody enjoy the weather. Hope everyone did great on the SAT, PSAT, and we'll see you back next week.